I know.
Today we're watching.
Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. We are Cinechicks. I'm Jen.
And I'm Christina, and today we're going to be talking about the new movie Freaky, which was released on
Friday the 13th.
Freaky Friday.
It was Freaky Friday, which I mean, any Friday the 13th in 2020 is freaky.
Yeah, I'm surprised nothing crazy happened.
I know, I was worried. Who knows what'll happen? It's 2020.
I know, right? So it was brought to you by the same people who brought you Happy Death Day, which you can totally tell.
Yes.
It's definitely a dark comedy or a horror comedy. And even the font of the movie is similar
Very similar.
Yeah, Happy Death Day.
So this was the first time we actually both got to see a movie together in the theater since like February or March. January.
That's even worse.
Oh my gosh, it's been 10 months.
Yeah.
That's crazy. The movie theaters in LA County are still not open, which is such a disappointment. So we had to go to Orange County to see it. But I think it's worth it. I mean, we love movies and we love the movie theater experience. And it just sucks that like so many theaters weren't prepared to like
handle the pandemic, much like most businesses. We say all that just to say that the movie-going experience is very important, at least to us. I think that, you know, the movie-goer experience can actually make or break a movie at sometimes. Like, I can't imagine seeing Tenet on streaming.
No.
There's no way you would get the gravity of it. Very safely, if you can, if you're healthy enough, go see a movie at a movie theater, even if it's a throwback.
I love going to see the throwbacks. Like, I want them to put all the Christmas like classics in the theater. I would totally go see Home Alone or The Santa Claus. I know a lot of people are worried that like, oh, this is the end of movie theaters and movie theaters are like gonna go out and there's never gonna be that type of blockbuster experience ever again, and it's just gonna go on to Disney Plus or HBO. And especially because Wonder Woman was just announced to be put on HBO Max, and that's a huge movie to be a missed opportunity to put on the
I think
big
it's
screen.
the first big movie that decided it was going to go to HBO Max. Granted, it will be in theaters. Where theaters are open, I think their main goal was to try to get as many people the opportunity
just
to
watch
see it.
Yes, we are in the middle of a pandemic, and yes, be safe, and I understand that things needed to close. But guys, movie theaters are not and should not, cannot go anywhere.
Movie theaters have always been an outlet for people during really tough times.
Yeah.
Like,
do you remember waiting in line for like midnight showings?
I do. I mean, as a teen, it sounds like that was so fun.
It was
but
so
as an
much
adult,
fun.
I'm like, I can live without it. But the teen experience, that was so fun. Like, you know, sitting and talking to the other people who were like waiting for the movie,
I remember
getting
waiting
excited.
in line for Spider-Man 3 with my little brother, and we were all talking about like Spider-Man. We were all talking about all of our favorite movies, and like that's such a great experience. Movie theaters cannot close, guys. I know people are like saying craziness, but like we are in a crazy time right now, but that doesn't mean that movie theaters are gonna disappear. So go support your local movie theater chain if you can.
And if you're really worried about safety, they have been offering private deals where you can like rent the movie theater
It's
out for like
$100
$100 if you get all like
Get
no
10 people
more,
on some
exactly. Like 10 people, no, you know, 10 people.
You don't go crazy, guys.
Yeah.
We're still in a pandemic.
And just do what you can to help.
So let's talk about the movie we saw in the theaters. What did you think of Freaky?
I definitely enjoyed it. I think it was a very fun movie. Like, you really do get out of everything that's going on, like, in that movie. Like, it doesn't feel like it dragged in any place in the movie. I think Vince Vaughn did an awesome job.
Yes.
I think he really, really carried the movie. In terms of the comedy of it, I feel like it wouldn't have been as funny if he wasn't in the movie.
Yeah, I agree.
What do you think about it?
I thought it was okay. It wasn't my favorite movie. Of course, I was excited to be in a movie theater, and I'm glad I saw it in a movie theater because we just talked about how important movie theaters are. But saying that, this felt like it was a Netflix movie to me.
Really?
Yeah, I
Netflix?
felt like Netflix brought up its game. It just felt like I didn't need to see it in a movie theater. But I agree. Vince Vaughn totally carried this movie. He is a hilarious actor. He did a great job. It did totally remind me of like the same world of Happy Death Day. But I have to say, I think I liked Happy Death Day better. But it was still enjoyable. It was fun. It had its issues for me a little bit, which we'll get into later. But overall, I think that it's worth to give it a watch. It's a fun movie.
So guys, if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want to be spoiled, we're going to get into some spoiler details.
Danger.
So, as everybody knows, this is like a new twist on Freaky Friday. And that's one of the issues that I had with it, because I was like, oh, this is a new twist. I love this idea, and it is a great concept. But unlike the Freaky Friday movies, because there's like 17 of them, you usually get to see both sides of the coin. You see the mom's life and what's going on with her, and the daughter and how they interact and all of that stuff. With this, it's a murderer and a teenage girl. And when they switch bodies, you still don't really ever learn anything about the serial killer, which I get, he's a serial killer, so we shouldn't really care about him. But if you're gonna do a Freaky Friday thing, I felt like that was kind of a missed opportunity. It was a little bit lacking in that. I was a little bit disappointed, I guess, because the character just fell flat for me. The butcher itself, and whenever he was the butcher, and then whenever they switched bodies and he was a teenage girl, he had a few lines that were funny, but you never got to really see personality. You never got to understand, was this murderer like bullied in school, or do they actually care if people are good or evil, and do they kill? Like, it's just you didn't get any of that, which, like I said, you don't need to. It's just I wanted to.
And to piggyback off of that also, 2 points. One, when they did swap bodies, her as a person was so different.
Yeah.
She dressed different, which, by the way, he does a whole style change, and it's like, oh, so you're a grown ass man who can style a teenager.
Right, and you know how to do makeup.
Yeah,
and you're a gross ass dude, just sleeping on the floor in some random building, wearing clothes that were super. Come on, I don't think so.
I'm sure we're not supposed to ask these questions, because there was a magical knife that switched them, so it's kind of I guess him knowing how to style a teenager is the least of our worries. But it was just something I noticed. Another thing I noticed was that when they swapped and she was acting so different, everyone who's the closest to her just kind of wrote it off. It's well, she went through a traumatic experience, and it's her whole mannerisms changed completely, overnight.
Which,
not
this whole movie takes place within 24 hours.
Yeah. So and no one thought let's take her aside and figure out what's going on. Everyone's just oh, we're just gonna give her space. It's fine. We're just gonna give her a space.
Another thing about the swap though that was weirded me out. Like I said, he was a gross dude. There's a moment in the movie where the girl's crush is talking to her in the car, and they're I really like you, I want to kiss you right now. And I understand the crush is talking to the girl, talking to Millie.
Yeah.
But you're staring at a grown ass 50-year-old dude. That's a little bit weird. And then they go in for the kiss, and I know it was just to get a reaction out of everybody, which it did. Everybody had a reaction to that. You want to know why I didn't have a good reaction? Because that dude hadn't showered in forever, so she showers, but you know what she didn't do? Didn't brush her teeth. Who knows what's in that mouth? That's gross. That's disgusting. Yeah, kissing somebody that probably hasn't brushed their teeth in a year? I'm good. I'll wait till you're in your real body. That was too much for me, guys. But one thing that was kind of cool, which I feel like they took this from Scream, because Scream did the exact same thing, is they did use a lot of tropes of all the older horror movies.
We don't know if they
I'm sure it had to have been on purpose.
I feel like it had to have been,
because it was too many.
Yeah, it was too many for it to not be. So throughout the movie, there were little callbacks to all the OG scary movies that came before it. So at the beginning, when he shows up to the first group of teens' house, he has a mask on that looks eerily similar to a Jason mask.
Yeah.
Not completely, but pretty similar. Yeah. And at that point, I think he's using a butcher knife.
He used the butcher knife, and then he used the stake. So the butcher knife, in Scream.
Yeah.
He used a stake to kill somebody, which then later that's how he also
died. So maybe
killed.
that was the
maybe that was
the connection.
But then a hook, he killed somebody with a hook, just like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Mm-hmm. And he was being taken away at the end in an ambulance, in Halloween, and they think he's dead, and he's really not, and he kills everybody in the ambulance, and then goes back. And that was very Michael Myers. And then when he does come back, the three women, so Millie, that's the main character, Millie, her mother, and her sister, 3 different generations of women in their family all basically come together to defeat him. very similar to the most recent Halloween movie where the same thing happened. They banded together that was the only way they were able to defeat him.
Right. Which, talking about the ending, that was another thing that like disappointed me and was just like kind of eye rolly, is the last line that she says is the dumbest, most unmemorable line ever, where she says, "I am a piece," when she kills him. And I'm like, that's something that her friend said at the beginning of the movie. The ending line should have been something that like the murderer, the serial killer, had said to her earlier in the movie. It was dumb, and I don't know why they used that as the last line.
And then when she delivers that line, the look in her face
made
it very questionable about whether or not they actually swapped. And that could very well be that the actress, the whole movie was, doing her, because we all know her from like Society, from Supernatural. She plays a lot of badass characters. And she just has this expression when she plays that kind of character.
When she killed him, the look in her eyes was like she liked killing.
It looked like how she looked, well, not her, but it looked like how her body looked when he was in her body and killing people.
Yeah.
So it was a little confusing because, like I said, it could have just been the way the actress emotes that situation, and that's why it looked the same. But it's like I was like momentarily confused, and maybe they did it on purpose because it's like, oh, maybe we can kind of like get a sequel out of it, even though I hope they don't, because they didn't need to do that for a Happy Death Day. Mm-hmm. They shouldn't do it again.
So I think overall it was a fun movie.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I mean, I would say you could see it. You're not going to feel like you wasted your life seeing it or anything like that. It is definitely a fun movie, especially if you want to forget everything that's going on. Go see a horror comedy.
Yeah.
And if anything, see it for Vince Vaughn. Yes. See it for him.
Alright guys, let us know what you thought of the movie if you've seen it. Let us know if you want to see it. Let us know if you agree with us. Let us know in the comments. Remember to like, share, comment, click that little bell so you're notified when we drop new videos.
Until next time, guys.